I've spent an inordinate amount of time at this tranquil conservatory on Zogara, our lush jungle moon. My primary mission, observe the wildlife. My secondary mission, keep an eye on any sentient beings who dare to set foot on this verdant paradise. Eons ago, my people, the Zogarians, practically bulldozed our home planet's natural resources into oblivion, driving most wildlife into the annals of extinction. But as we began our cosmic jaunts among the stars, we stumbled upon Zogara, the larger of our two moons, which to our delight was a potential haven for life. Thanks to a few heroic individuals who had the foresight to hoard DNA samples and observational data on our extinct wildlife, we managed to recreate a slice of our original biosphere on this celestial body. Fast forward to today, we've mastered the art of terraforming. We've recreated the exact conditions of our homeworld, even going so far as to inject millions of tons of molten iron into Zogara's core to tweak the gravitational pull to within a millionth of a percent of what we were used to. And to minimize the impact of these changes on the moon itself, we nudged Zogara further out into space. We even reshaped the terrain to mirror the pre-civilization landscape of our homeworld. Now we have a perfect garden, entirely natural. It's quite the trend for my people to visit, to reconnect with the wildlife and environment of our ancestors. Though nothing of the original remains, this little haven is sacred to us. But our ancestors weren't ones for petty concepts like ownership. We only intervened to maintain the balance. We've got matter-energy conversion beams precise enough to target specific molecules, preventing contamination by bodily fluids, hair, skin, and waste. Anything brought into the sanctum is removed, either by the visitors or by our systems. Visits must be scheduled, routes registered, and participants thoroughly vetted to keep poaching and harm to the delicate balance of our garden world at bay. This most recent visitor, however, is a bit of an enigma. Most visitors traverse the wilds with quiet awe, giving the wildlife a wide berth. Many are researchers, xenobiologists, and the like. But then there's Hank Wilder. He's a conservationist, which, based on my research during his vetting process, is not too different from our concept of the term. Yet I found it strange that he was away from his ecosystem. His vetting process was a head-scratcher too. The humans, new kids on the Galactic Federation block, didn't have much documented before their acceptance into the Federation. They merged their own databases with the galactic ones, but it wasn't as comprehensive as ours and barely met the minimum requirements. Even by human standards, Hank had scant records. Aside from his birth, the only files on him were medical in nature, often grave, sometimes life-threatening, and almost always wildlife-induced. Based on that alone, I would have denied him entry. But the third entry, chronologically, made me reconsider. I pride myself on thoroughness, so even though I had made up my mind by the second medical record, I persevered. I wanted my case for denial to be irrefutable. His petition had come from the office of our Ambassador General, after all. The Ambassador General wouldn't accept a simple no. That third record changed everything. I double-checked to be sure, and my suspicions were confirmed. He was injured with a projectile weapon. As I continued to peruse the record, searching for specific citations to bolster my case for denial, the terse report written by the local authorities actually changed my mind. While in the wilderness observing a herd of elephants, Mr. Wilder discovered a group of likely poachers stalking the herd. He confronted them and insisted they leave. He was shot during the ensuing altercation. He was evacuated by helicopter to Trauma Center in Gaborone. I was perplexed. If he was a legitimate conservationist, why all the wildlife injuries? That question was answered swiftly. As I remotely observed Hank, he didn't seem all that odd at first, aside from his habit of talking to the camera drone he brought along as if it were a close companion or audience. Sensors indicated that he wasn't broadcasting anything, and the drone recorded everything, even his mundane hikes through the wilderness when he made and broke camp. Everything. It was his first interaction with the local fauna, a grizzlin, that set the tone for his entire visit and revealed why he had so many injuries. It also made me wonder what kind of monsters inhabit his homeworld. Grizzlins are predatory creatures. They hunt by stalking their prey, skulking from tree to tree. When the time is right, they drop down on their prey, latch onto them with their formidable claws, and bite down with a jaw strength that could make a steel beam tremble. Encountering a grizzlin is typically a death sentence for most visitors, but not for Hank Wilder. Hank spotted the grizzlin before it could pounce. Instead of fleeing for his life, as any sane being would, he stood his ground, his eyes alight with fascination rather than fear. "Well, hello there, big fella," he exclaimed to the camera drone, as if greeting an old friend rather than a ferocious predator. He slowly knelt down, making himself smaller and less threatening. "Now, aren't you a magnificent beast?" he continued, his voice calm and soothing. The grizzlin paused, perhaps as confused by Hank's behavior as I was. Slowly, cautiously, Hank extended his hand, palm open, towards the creature as if inviting it to a friendly handshake. To my utter astonishment, the grizzlin didn't attack. Instead, it sniffed Hank's hand, then backed off, seemingly satisfied that this strange human posed no threat. Hank then proceeded to sit down right in front of the beast, narrating to the camera drone about the grizzlin's hunting techniques, habitat, and behaviors, as if he were giving a lecture in a classroom rather than sitting mere inches from death. This was just the beginning of Hank's extraordinary interactions. Over the next few days, he encountered various species, each interaction more baffling than the last. He approached a pack of screevels, notorious for their aggressive territorial behavior, and within minutes had them eating out of his hand. Literally. He spent hours observing and talking to a pair of viroxen, whose venomous bite could paralyze a creature in seconds. Yet they seemed almost docile in his presence. I couldn't help but admire his approach, even if it defied all logic and survival instincts. It was as if Hank possessed a unique aura, a blend of fearlessness and respect for the natural world that the wildlife could sense and respond to. Despite his astonishing rapport with the fauna, Hank was meticulous about following the conservatory's rigorous protocols. He ensured that any waste, even biodegradable, was properly contained and removed. He adhered strictly to the pre-approved routes, never once straying off the path. His respect for the sanctity of the conservatory was evident in every action he took. By the end of his stay, I found myself in a state of conflicted admiration and bewilderment. Hank Wilder was unlike any other visitor we had ever hosted. He wasn't merely a conservationist. He was a bridge between worlds, a living testament to the possibility of harmonious coexistence between humans and nature. On his final day, as he prepared to leave, Hank turned to the camera drone one last time. "It's been an honor and a privilege to walk among these incredible creatures," he said, his voice tinged with genuine emotion. "I hope that, in some small way, my time here helps others to see the beauty and importance of preserving our natural world." As he departed, I couldn't shake the feeling that we had witnessed something extraordinary, something that transcended mere conservation. Hank Wilder had shown us what it truly means to connect with nature on a profound, almost spiritual level. And so as I filed my report and watched the shuttle carrying Hank disappear into the starry expanse, I couldn't help but smile. Perhaps in the grand tapestry of the cosmos, there are still many lessons to be learned from those who walk a different path. And perhaps, just perhaps, Hank Wilder was here to teach us one of the most important lessons of all.